The FBI has now supplied photos. Here's the person we're looking for. Do you know who this is? They know the weapon. They have information written on ammunition. This all regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk on the 24th anniversary of September 11th. These are the days, people. And I'm glad we're together to deal with it. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. I'm glad you're here. Producer Landon, let's begin. These are the times that try men's souls, wrote Thomas Paine in The American Crisis. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and women. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. The words ring true today. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. As we already knew, we would be engaging the 24th anniversary of September 11th, and 3,000 of our countrymen killed. And the necessity to remember their names, to remember their lives, and to remember that it is us against the Islamists, and we must win because what they want is darkness. 24 years later, we're still fighting this fight. This fight is forever. And then, only to realize that about 24 hours ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. 31 years old, married, 2 very small children. I didn't know Charlie. We were not friends. We weren't enemies. We followed each other on social media, but I met him once. That I remember, I met him once. I spoke at one Turning Point event here in my area of Indianapolis. I didn't agree with everything he said. I didn't agree with the style of everything that he did. To deny his influence would be radical. To say that he wasn't assassinated would be to be a fraud. This wasn't just some murder. The killing, the assassination of a political commentator, everybody you listen to on radio, everybody you watch on TV, my gosh, your own commentaries on social media, does it all fall into the same bucket? Must you have thousands upon thousands of people who show up on a college campus in order for you to be a target? I reject that. What we know regarding Charlie Kirk is that the FBI has released a photo, a person of interest. Now, yesterday they had in custody a person of interest. That person was released. They now have released 2 photos of a man in a black t-shirt with a white bit of graphic on the chest, wearing a black hat, wearing black sunglasses, wearing blue jeans, wearing what looks like they are white sneakers. The FBI had already told us that they were able to track this person going into the stairwells, going up to the roof.
We were able to track the movements.
Sorry about that, guys. Let's try this again.
We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location, After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we are confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately.
In addition, they made a statement about the ammunition. They made a statement about the rifle. That the rifle, that the ammo, which was found, single bolt action, the ammunition had scrawlings on it, writings on it about anti-fascist and about trans. My gosh, you could have almost predicted that one. We don't play in the game of guessing, so we wait until we have the information. We have the information. And more information will be coming out. Certainly information can change. I've had some people say to me, my gosh, Charlie Kirk was taken out. And these are the same people who wanted Trump out. And this was a well-planned operation. I've had people say to me, this shot from that far away isn't that far away. And in 10 minutes, I could have trained somebody to make that shot. I don't know. And neither does anybody else just yet. That's the kind of speculation that keeps people going on social media. That isn't what we do here. What we do here is recognize that the objective, no matter what, was to take out somebody who was influential and who was connecting with 21-year-olds and 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds all across the country. Somebody whose group, philosophy, message connected. Whether that be a message of America is good, whether that be a question of as masculinity is good, or whether that be that faith is good. Connected in a way that the political left never could. And movement came to the political right, and certainly came for President Trump, although I cannot tell you if it actually came for Republicans. And when I take a look at data on exit polling from the election, the presidential election, I say it didn't. It came for Trump. I've made this argument before, but one cannot deny how successful Kirk was in making this happen. And one cannot deny that he was assassinated in full public view to try and get people not to try again. In the history of ever, I only ask if that has ever worked. Has it ever worked that one could make a move to try and silence a group of people and seen success in it? And we, on the political right, they've tried to silence us a lot. No, you're not allowed to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. We won't allow you to post that. No, you can't talk about the efficacy of the COVID vaccine and whether or not there are issues in its creation. We won't allow you to talk about that. We have seen this. I only went to recent history here. We've also seen the political violence before. You see, the left will tell you about January 6th without ever discussing who was invited into the Capitol, which they should, because those people weren't violent at all. And the people who engaged in violence, I don't mind if they're in jail. I mind that they don't get due process when you scream about due process. Political violence is Steve Scalise almost dying on a baseball diamond. political violence is a lawmaker and her husband killed in Minnesota, and then having a governor who hopes that Donald Trump dies. Political violence is Butler, Pennsylvania. We've seen this time and again. Political violence is the United Healthcare CEO being gunned down in the streets. And the recognition that anybody on this side of the microphone could very well be next, whether they have a small audience or a large audience, whether they're local, whether they're national, whether they're regional. That your Facebook post about name the subject could just get someone to say that person has to be dealt with, because the idea of people speaking freely and engaging thoughts you may disagree with to some is simply unagreeable, disagreeable, and has to be met with violence. This is what took place. There can be no question that Charlie Kirk was killed for the expressions of beliefs. Now, what I cannot tell you, was this belief political or was this belief religious? I am not the guy to engage on the faith front. I don't ever shy away from being Jewish, but I don't often discuss the concepts of faith. I have my reasons, and amongst them is the very concept that my own faith is something that I question on the hour. My belief in a creator is different than my belief in anything else. And I don't believe that my argument rises or falls based on faith. I think I base it on the logic. I base it on the reason. I base it on a philosophical underpinning. Now, there'll be people be like, well, how does that philosophical underpinning exist without God? And then we're going to get into a conversation about Christopher Hitchens. And that's not where I want to go, because there is no issue that I had with the fact that Charlie Kirk was a believer and said so clearly and with focus and often and repeatedly. And he stated it. This was his life. This is how he valued himself. This was who he was. His day to his night ended with Jesus. That's who he was. I'm not going to tell that man no. I never would have told him no. It isn't how I engage. Maybe it's why he got such a large audience. There's an appreciation for that. I don't shy away from it. It's just not how I engage. It's okay. It's fine. But it connected with people, didn't it? Can't invent something. Don't ever be what you're not. That's pretty messed up. So did they try to take out? Not try. Did they kill Charlie Kirk for his politics, for his support of Trump, for his religious basis? I don't know. We know that what was found on the ammunition there from the firearm inside the rifle, writing on the ammo, anti-fascist stuff and pro-trans stuff. We know this. So again, I cannot tell you if that motivation was political or faith. What I can tell you is he didn't deserve to die. What happened to Charlie Kirk is horrific. What happened to the people at Utah Valley University who had to watch that is horrific. What happened to all of us who had to say, my God, they are shooting at all of us. They didn't just shoot the candidate. They shot at the people who supported him. And yes, some on the left cheered, and some on the left don't care. And some on the left rather ignorantly said, you see, the issue is guns. That's what they said. This is how they acted. They played the part of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pretending that she is righteous.
People can finger point all they want. Look at the record. Look at the actions of what we are doing. I don't think a single person who has dedicated their entire career to preventing gun safety legislation from getting passed in this House has any right to blame anybody else but themselves for what is happening.
It wasn't the gun. It was the gunman. and personally exhausted I am by the ignorance of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her fake tears. You're angry, you're upset. Let us discuss the ideology at play that looked at Charlie Kirk, whether it was his politics or his faith, and said, we can't have that anymore. Louis Farrakhan is a despicable human being, an anti-Semite, anti-white, anti-women. He's an American and he's allowed to speak. That's the difference between us. A gun didn't do this. A so-called man did this. Let's find him. Charlie Kirk, dead at the age of 31. To the extent you pray, put him in your prayers. Him and his family. This is Tony Katz Today. Guys, welcome back. Tony Katz Today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. You know, you guys know that I do 2 shows a day, right? So I already did a morning show, 6 to 9 a.m. And my producer was like, I do not know how you do 6 hours a day. Days like today, brutal. Absolutely brutal. On the soul, man. Just devastating. Just devastating. Yes. Only 2 shows until the CNN gigs. The CNN gigs it has not started. But man, do they need me. They can't keep going with what they've got. And MSNBC, oh, holy heck. Holy cow, I will get to that. Wrote myself a note right there. That's why I have a little whiteboard. I wrote myself notes. So yeah, not easy. Not easy. So I appreciate you being here and being a part of the show, and be sure to subscribe and do all of the things. Yeah, I didn't know Charlie personally, and I can't say I was a follower. Like, I would see videos and stuff, and that was that. But no, I don't deny influence, and I know they're going to be. He did radio, of course, and they're going to be running specials. I don't know what's going to happen over there. But if the question is everybody on edge? Everybody is on edge. I don't think there's anybody in in media on this side of the microphone who isn't like, I'm going to take a look outside before I walk outside. Because what would make anybody think that there aren't copycats and others out there who look to do horrific things? Back to the radio show. I've got more on this. And of course, your phone calls are welcome. 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. You can get to the chat room on the live stream at YouTube or on Twitter X. Just go to youtube.com/Tony Katz. Be happy to engage your comments and share there, whether it be about Charlie Kirk, about 9/11, near any subject. And I'll give you something that's on a day like today. Is it wrong to at least try a little levity? Okay. Kamala Harris. See, you're already laughing. You're already laughing. She writes a book, 107 days, right? Because she only had 107 days to run for president and spent $1 billion. Basically, she was playing the part of Richard Pryor in Brewster's Millions. That's just spending money, burning money to get no result. She writes in the book about Joe Biden deciding to run for re-election. It's Joe and Jill's decision. We all said it like a mantra, as if we'd all been hypnotized. This was reported in The Atlantic. Was it grace or was it recklessness? In retrospect, I think it was recklessness. The stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition. It should have been more than a personal decision. Is that right? You're now going to tell us that the reason you lost is because Joe Biden decided to run for re-election and didn't just hand it to you. Why didn't you care enough about the country to say Joe Biden is a doddering old fool? He has no idea where he is. Do you know he's auto-penning pardons right now? This guy, what? Okay. Can we please utilize the 25th Amendment and then I'll run for president like God intended and we can get this done? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you care enough about the country, Kamala Harris, to say that, to put the country ahead of you? Why not? And the answer is because you wanted to be vice president of the United States. You wanted to be vice president. You knew you were wickedly unpopular. You knew the Democrats knew you were no good. You weren't smart enough. You weren't bright enough. You weren't capable enough. My gosh, these people are just so sick and tired of you. They can hardly take it. They can hardly take it. And so you said nothing because you figured at least you keep the money coming in. At least you keep the gig going. And then when he dropped, you said, all right, now's my chance. And then, of course, since you were incapable, you got trounced. You got ripped apart. Is there anything you do differently? It was an innocuous question from Sonny Hostin. And you said, nothing comes to mind. That was my Kamala Harris impression. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. And that was it. But it's Biden who is reckless. Or do you mean Jill? Because you talk about the person who made the decision, the person's ego. It was Jill, wasn't it? It's Jill, isn't it? Say so. Oh, this is Tony Katz today. I see your comments. There, Andrew. I'll get to those comments as well. Oh, look, Sarah made it. What's up, Sarah? Good to see it. Sarah runs everything digital. That's what Sarah does. Landon, thank you for that. I will get to that for sure. I keep thinking Trump is going to speak right there. Let me just put down some more notes. There it is. I want to answer your questions. I want to get to those. Trump has said he is going to award Charlie Kirk the Medal of Freedom. That's going to take place posthumously. So we have got that story. Yeah, there are no new. I shared with you the photos of the alleged shooter. Somebody they have an interest in. Somebody they want to get information from. So there we go. I've got some other audio to get to. Got a lot today. And the manhunt does continue as we move forward through this. All right. So I've got your questions. I've got this set up. I am good to go. My name is Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. Normally we take some time to talk about the sponsors and everybody else. I just find every now and again when we're a little more focused, things are a little more solemn. You know what? My sponsors are great. My sponsors are great. Defiance Beef and Flederman Von Riest, and we'll talk about those things, and I'll throw them in the comments for everybody. You notice I'm not even having a cigar today. Between September 11th, between the murder of Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, because really that's what we're talking about here. I figure we just stay a little more focused on everything. So I'm glad that you're here. I want to be able to answer your questions, and I'm very one of the things that I've seen in the last, by now, basically 24 hours, even though it's 22 hours, there has been a real connectivity amongst people on the right, and really moderates as well. Some Democrats for sure. And then of course there's monster leftists and trans activists. That this is just not how we want to live. This is horrifying. This is what we don't want. And I'm appreciative, if you will, of that, because it's good to know some people still have their soul. It's not just you and me. But there are moments like this where you want to be, sometimes you just want to go, everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. I mean, it is a very Cheers kind of thing there. You want to feel connected. So to the extent that I can be of service to the people who are part of our world, good. And I want you to know how much I appreciate you being here, because it absolutely makes it easier. 1,000%, not just a voice in the wilderness by yourself. It's always good to know. Glad you're here. Glad we got each other. Let's get back to the radio show. So the images are out. The images are out for the person of interest they are looking for in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you, and I want to get to your questions, but I'd be remiss if we did not talk about the 24th anniversary of September 11th. And as I am wont to do, it is to me imperative that it is not just remembered, but it is heard. That, forgive the way I say it, September 11th should each and every year be relived in a way. To remember what it was that happened, what it was that shocked the senses of all of us.
An effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
yes, and that's
view.
the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen.
This happened live. This happened as people watch it. And 24 years later, we're talking about people who watched Charlie Kirk get assassinated live. This fight in front of us is going to be a very, very long fight. When it comes to September 11th, we have to understand all the pieces, all the places, all the connectivity. Producer Landon and I have it edited, but finger on the dump button just in case. What it sounded like across the country that day as people were trying to determine what planes were where, who was where, what was actually happening.
Who's over here right now? We might have a hijack over here, two of them.
Jules, this is Ryan. Lives on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well, and it's not looking good, I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So have a good time. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you later, Jessica. Bye, babe.
What are those people going to do? All the elevators are blocked out.
Oh my God. So both towers are now.
Okay, I got an aircraft 6 miles east of the White House.
Hello? Crystal City, just north of Crystal City.
Just to the north of your town.
Yeah, stop all departures.
I mean, that's just the sounds of what our law enforcement was dealing with. Those are the sounds of what our air traffic controllers and military were dealing with. And then there were the people who were on those planes.
Tuesday, 9:47 a.m.
Hi, baby. Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
We're 56865. We have, I believe it is a Boeing 757. Can you see him up there, sir?
That's confirmed. It looks like he's rocking his wings.
Roger.
He's rocking back and forth.
We're 56865. I advise you stay away from that aircraft. Go north as fast as you can.
United 93. Have you got information on that yet?
Yeah, he's down.
He's down?
Yes.
When did he land?
He did not land.
Oh, he's down?
Yeah,
Down?
somewhere up northeast of Camp David.
Yeah, I try not to be gruesome. Not a maudlin guy or a morbid guy. I don't see how one can go through the day without going through what it is that you felt, without the recognition of what was happening, without the real connection to just how horrible it was, and these messages that tell the story.
Sean, it's me. I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. There's lots of smoke, and I just wanted you to know that I love you always.
At number 2 World Trade Center, right. Ladies and students in the office, we're not ready to die, but it's getting bad.
I'm going to leave it there. It's one of the most horrific phone calls that exists out there. I mean, just absolutely horrific. So I bring this to you as a reminder that we are still in this fight, not only with Islamists. We seem to be in a fight with actual history itself, that somehow there's still amongst some groups of people a feel that this is all our fault, and that somehow, if we just don't talk about it, the problem itself will go away. Neither one of those things is true. And commemoration and remembrance is important, but we cannot allow that. And as time has gone by, 24 years, I lived in D.C. at the time. some restaurant manager at the time, working on September 11th. First of all, how life has changes and morphs and moves. Amazing. Secondly, we cannot allow time to lessen its impact nor the importance of the fight. Well, Tony, now's not a time to be talking about fighting and violence when talking about Islamists. Yes, it is. Because it was time to talk about fighting Islamists on September 10th, 2001. Just was. Now, I said that I would answer some questions. If you've got questions, I've got answers. You can put them on Twitter X at Tony Katz. You can email me, Tony at TonyKatz.com. That always works right there. And then you can put a comment there on the live stream on YouTube, youtube.com/Tony Katz. This from Andrew. Will the death of Charlie Kirk impact the midterm elections? Solid question. And the answer is, I assume so, for two reasons. The first one may seem callous, but it's not that it's not factual. The invoking of the work that Charlie did, Charlie was doing, Charlie believed in, Charlie had faith in, was that we would stay a republic, and the only way to do that is to keep the country in Republican hands. We have to show these monsters who support assassinations and whoever it is that killed Charlie Kirk that they can't win, and we do that through the vote. So I think that there is going to be a fair amount of that. There is going to be a run-up to that. I actually had this conversation with Senator Jim Banks of Indiana. I'll play it for you a little bit later on the radio side, and you'll hear it for yourself. Absolutely, I do think that this affects the election, right? I think that if you're running, you would use this and any connection you had to Charlie Kirk. The other part of it is, well, they're trying to kill him, so he must be doing something right. I'm not going to let them win. Not going to let them win. So yes, I do think it has an impact on the midterms. And I do think, well, I can't say for sure. I do think that it will increase a level of participation, of younger participation, which was, part of what he was doing and all out for anyway. So I do think that's going to happen. So that's I'm happy to answer that question. Secondly, I'm already seeing more and more people with the discussion of security. And you're going to start seeing more and more of this. I'm attending an event this weekend with a bunch of other people, and I had already asked the question, hey, what's the security situation? And they were like, information coming shortly, and it's all been beefed up by 1,000%. So this is a part two. I think that at every event you go to, I don't think it's yesterday when the New York Yankees had a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. I think that is a telltale of there was some cultural impact, some major cultural impact. But number two, you're about to see increases in security everywhere, every single type of event, sporting events, concerts, and anything having to do with President Trump or members of Congress. I think this is all going to be elevated. I think that I won't be surprised if you go to sporting events, expect longer lines. Concerts, expect longer lines. I think that is coming from this as well. I think the college campus may very well be concerned. And I'm not going to tell them not to be. We've had these false flags, we thought that somebody was shooting up a campus, and then it was a false alarm, it was a hoax, whatever it is. I think campus security has got to be worried right now as well. This is indeed part of the problem. And when you see when you go over what I'm talking about, these people have to increase their security, or this group has to increase their security. Oh, it's going to be this. Oh, it's going to be that. Everybody is now at a level of concern. That is how the terrorist wins. And you say to me, wait, are these people terrorists? Allow me. Yes, they are. Those engaged in murdering, supporting the murder of Charlie Kirk, the assassinated Charlie Kirk, or of Steve Scalise or others, the United Healthcare CEO, that's terrorism. We want to call it domestic terrorism? Well, feel free. Knock yourself out. But it is what it is. Does someone want to deny that's terrorism? 833-GOT-TONY. 833-468-8669. Let's hear the argument. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. I'm done by 11:30. Okay. Solid. How are we doing on the show so far? I'm asking producer Landon how we're doing, making sure we're hitting everything right. It's the kind of thing, it's the kind of day where it's like, how do you measure? Right? You do the best you can. You do the very, very best you can. So I was just checking in because sometimes you take a different ear to how everything is heard. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. I swear to you, I expected Trump to come out with another statement today. I did, and no, he's good. He is good. He has said all he's going to say today, I think. I am not playing some of the TikTok stuff where people are like cheering the death of Charlie Kirk. I'm not doing that. Nope. Not doing that at all. There. I have my standards. That's not it. I do have, let me see, where am I? Boom. The iPhone. I've got that story. I've got Poland invoking Article 4. That's a big story. So I'll get to that. We'll do some smaller stories right now. And then I've got more about how we deal with the violent left. And if you haven't heard what happened on MSNBC and the firing of Matthew Dowd, what happens when you think yourself such an intellectual, you lose all humanity? Well, MSNBC is what happens. It's what happens. So I've got that, and I've got an increase on chocolate. They're going to increase the price of chocolate, which should outrage. It should outrage all people. Well, the chocolate price is going up, and it's not my fault. Right? I blame Adam Schiff. It was strange. Yesterday, we were supposed to record Eat, Drink, Smoke, the Cigar and Bourbon Show, and this all breaks about Charlie Kirk, and I'm talking to Fingers, and he's like, "You know what? Let's not. Let's not. We will record again, and we'll go from there. You know, we'll do it today. So, getting ready to record Eat, Drink, Smoke today, but there was no way to do it. We didn't have the information. How are you going to talk about anything else with this weighing over you? And the show is really apolitical. What we talk about cigars and bourbon, but like, how do you not? So I figure on Eat, Drink, Smoke, we've got about an hour of this to get through. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's been a lot. But people are going through much more than you and I. I'm glad you're here, though. Let's begin the show. There are other things going on in the world, like the price of chocolate going up. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. We also have Poland invoking Article 4 as Russia is trying to pressure everybody to give them more. I mean, that's what's happening here. The question is this going to backfire on Russia? And where does the response come from? And if it comes from Europe, how does China engage? Because India is going to stay out of it. They are. The group Sheetz. I don't know if you've ever heard of Sheetz. Sheetz, which is a weird name for a convenience store. I agree. The only weirder name is there was a chain in Iowa. It might be in other places. It was spelled with a K. It was called the Come and Go. I like, that is not the everyday, kids. Sheetz is saying, hey, Hershey's chocolate, that price is going up. 26% increase because Hershey's instituted the price increase because cocoa is more expensive. Reese's, Kit Kats, Payday candy bars, everything that is Hershey. Other items unaffected. Cocoa prices, according to Hershey's, costing them an additional $15 to $20 million due to tariffs. So you mean they're not eating the tariff? They're passing the tariff along. Huh. Somebody get me Secretary Bessent. We must discuss this new development about how companies deal with prices to ensure their profits. He will be shocked to find this out. I don't know how, but he will. And then there's Apple with the iPhone 17. It's going to start at $799 for 256 gigs of storage. Then there's the iPhone 17 Pro, which is going to start at $1,099, not $999. $1,099. And then there is the iPhone Air. The iPhone Air? That bloody heck is an iPhone Air. Is the iPhone so heavy that we can't keep up? That's insane. This is ridiculous. The thinnest iPhone ever. They're also doing a foldable iPhone. Is it thinner so when you put the case on it, it's actually normal size? As opposed to the iPhone, when you put a case on it, it is like you are holding a brick. If you've got like an OtterBox or something, your phone that barely fits in your pocket. 18 megapixel front camera. So for all you selfie folk, I don't know. What is it going for? $999. I'm going to keep my phone if that's okay. Keep it here. It's Tony Katz today. Guys, here's what we got going on. The show is in radio break, so we will be in radio break. Relax, take it easy. We've got some stuff to get to. Let me see what else I've got. We've got more stuff to get to. I have more stuff to engage. So keep it here. Smoke them if you got them. We'll be back. Hang loose, guys. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Not smoking a cigar today between September 11th and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Just did not seem appropriate for the show. We'll get back to it tomorrow. My thanks to Michael Coolidge for being in the chair yesterday. Greatly appreciate that. A tremendous amount of madness in the aftermath of the assassination, and some real horrific nonsense from MSNBC. And we're going to get into that nonsense. I will share with you what was said and what was done and what's coming next. But I also want to get into how we're supposed to deal with what is here, not what's coming. And I think one of the biggest problems we have is we still have people on the social media scene who are saying, oh, the fight is coming and the war is coming. And I know people don't like these war references, but it's here because we're being shot at. It's here. My question is everyone aware of this? I know you don't want to think about it. I know some people don't like to talk about it. Oh, you're just feeding into this. Reality requires us to notice what's happening all around us. It's here. We are in it. You know, it's like the idea, are we at war with China? I don't know, but China's at war with us. Are we at war with Islamists? Well, you could say we're not, but they're at war with us. And it's all part of the same desire, the same want, the same philosophy. It is about the destruction of Western civilization. Even when we take a look at what's going on with Israel, Israel is the step to taking on the United States and destroying the United States, because destroying Western civilization allows the communist or the Islamist to go about with their desires and dreams. Now, eventually, this red-green alliance, they fight each other. They have to fight each other. And I don't believe the communists can beat the Islamist in that way. The communists can beat us because we are, patient people or kind people. They're patient with their destruction and their slow indoctrination of the youth, etc. But the Islamists will just slaughter them. Communists only know how to slaughter themselves. See the difference? You see that? That's why. Oh, gosh, it's funny because it's true. So it's not me trying to engage any level of fear-mongering or warmongering or anger or violence by saying we're at war. They're at war with us. They are at war with us. I'll share with you these MSNBC stories and some other things that's coming up. I'm glad you're here. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. Let's go there, producer Landon.
Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd, very, very big.
Of that, I have no doubt. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. That President Trump talking about the Medal of Freedom. The assassination, I guess, right? In tragedy, you learn about people. You also learn how devoid of humanity some people are. And one of the things that we saw with the assassination was Matthew Dowd over at MSNBC. Now, we should be clear that the commentary about Matthew Dowd goes along a careless streak. Now, with Matthew Dowd, it was he could care less. But how about this just a couple of days ago from the senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy?
We're not going to convince Donald Trump to stand down in his attempts to destroy our democracy through de-escalatory politics. Like, that's just not happening. So our only opportunity, our only chance to save our democracy is to fight fire with fire right now.
Let's stop. Let's stop for a moment. We have to save our democracy fighting fire with fire. Violent rhetoric, we were told. We were told when Donald Trump used this kind of rhetoric, you got to fight this, we got to fight this, we're going to fight like hell. That's what encouraged people to violence. But when Chuck Schumer said, you will reap the whirlwind, Supreme Court, if you do something about abortion and you will pay the price, you won't know what hit you. That was just jibber jabber. This is just days ago, Senator Chris Murphy.
Now, so yeah, do I bemoan the fact that, we're now blowing up norms? Yes, but literally for 2 seconds, because if you spend any more than that being sorry for the fact that the old world doesn't exist, then your democracy is gone. Like, we're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Is that what happened in Orem, Utah yesterday in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Senator Murphy? Do whatever it takes? Not a question of winning at the ballot box? Not a question of winning ideas? Now, I want to be clear that I do not blame Senator Murphy for the death of Charlie Kirk. People are responsible for their own actions. But if we are going to be a society that notes when rhetoric is being ramped up for a particular purpose, well, then put Senator Chris Murphy in the box of people ramping up the rhetoric. Like all of those on MSNBC and all of those on CNN. Trump is a threat to democracy. It's a threat to democracy. Republicans are a threat to democracy. Women's rights will be gone. Your rights will be gone. We have to do something to save democracy. Democracy is on the ballot. It is indeed whoever this shooter was. Whoever this shooter was. This person of interest where the photos have been released, they're the one responsible. But are we going to pretend we don't see what Senator Chris Murphy is doing? Now, I have argued that we are at war before. You can go back to Andrew Breitbart, the late, great Andrew Breitbart, talking about war. You could go to Joe Biden talking about a fight for the soul of the country. I don't disagree that that is the case, that that's what we're doing, that that is exactly where we're at. I guess I just didn't understand on the grounds in which we were fighting. Because I was fighting to change minds, persuade people, and get votes. What were you doing? Leftists? What were you advocating for? Because, I had always stated that it seemed like you were advocating for a lone wolf. I didn't say seemed. I said you were advocating for a lone wolf. That was very clear that you were looking for somebody to try and kill Donald Trump. You tried and you tried and you tried and you found the guy in Butler and he missed, thank God. I think you were trying. I don't even think you're playing pretend on that. I think you were trying. But I always thought the objective was to win at the ballot box. I said so on this show on numerous occasions. Seems that Senator Murphy is playing a much different game and is desirous of a much different result. As for the idea of rhetoric, this brings us to Matthew Dowd. who decided on MSNBC in quite literally the first hour after Charlie Kirk was shot, unknown if he was alive or dead, he decided to engage in some really ugly speculation.
Yeah, and again, emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was the supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about.
Charlie Kirk got shot, and you have the audacity to say to an audience, we don't know if this was a Charlie Kirk supporter shooting off their firearm in celebration. When you heard that, were you just disgusted, or did you know that he was just criminally insane? I mean, out of his mind. And if that wasn't enough, there was this.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
If I were to translate for Matthew Dowd of MSNBC, what he said of Charlie Kirk is, your skirt's too short and you deserve to be raped. That's what he said. It's what he said. And it's what he got fired for. The statement from Rebecca Cutler, the president of MSNBC, came out on the MSNBC PR Twitter handle, not the regular MSNBC one. MSNBC has 5 million followers. MSNBC PR has about 25,000 followers. And the statement is, during our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There's no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. Okay? He has now been fired. They fired him, and that was absolutely, in every way, the right move. But I think if we have to take a moment to go back and hear what he said. That what Charlie Kirk was discussing was hateful.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
You understand that Matthew Dowd considers himself an intellectual. And breaking down his pseudo-intellectual thought process, what he said is Charlie Kirk's skirt was too short and he deserved it because it was hateful. Now, the question is, to whom was it hateful? Because I've heard Charlie Kirk speak, and there are things I disagreed with, things I thought he was wrong on. What? The angels walk amongst us? I'm a real person who looks at people and says they're not always perfect, and it's all right. We agree on more when we disagree on. I'm not down with that thing. What did he say that was hateful and deserving of death? What did he say that was so awful, so horrific, so shameful, so terrible that he deserved to be shot in the neck in front of a crowd of thousands so they could watch him tense up and bleed out? Who are you, Matthew Dowd, to decide what is hateful? You know what's hateful, Matthew Dowd? Men can be women and women can be men and boys can be girls and girls can be boys. That is hateful. That is vitriolic. That is wanting to abuse children and leading children down a road of abuse. chemical castration. It is horrifying that anybody could say such evil words. Or is that not what you meant? What were his evil words? Men are not women, women are not men, Jesus is Lord. Tell me what his evil words were. Because thousands and thousands and thousands of people showed up on college campuses because they agreed with him. Now, I will argue some also showed up to watch him bat around liberals. Oh, stop it. Of course, that was a huge part of it. But what did he say that was hateful? He might have been hated for the way he was able to dismantle arguments. And he had a rhetorical flourish that I never even liked. But that's not a reason to go about killing him. Well, you see, he was saying things people don't like, so what do you expect?
And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
So his thoughts were awful. So he was guilty of thought crime. Now I ask you, he got fired because we took notice. How many people watching on MSNBC shook their head and said, yup, you can't be hateful. You can't think hateful things. I don't think hateful things. I'm really good. Please don't shoot me. I'll be good. I'll think whatever it is you want me to think. I just want to be someone who's good. My gosh, what side do you want to be on once you hear that? That not only is excusing the murder of Charlie Kirk, that's a freaking Mao struggle session right there. Do you have the right thoughts? Do you share the right thoughts, the right sentiments? You don't want to share the wrong thoughts, do you? You don't want us to think you have wrong thoughts, do you? You know what happens if you have wrong thoughts. That's what he just did. That's what he just said. My gosh, I have never been more thankful I am not a progressive. That is cruel. And he said that, and you know he left thinking, man, I really said something super smart there. I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm so bright. The MSNBC brass saw that, heard from us, and said, we are not going to win this one. Easier to bring back Jeffrey Toobin from a little bit of caught on video self-pleasure than it is to bring back Matthew Dowd. Oh, don't worry, he'll have another job. But I mean, you've seen this, the social media reactions, people cheering Charlie Kirk's death, but this is where the intellectual went. Problem is, you're too hateful. What did Matthew Dowd do except echo the thoughts of every single college professor out there? All right, most college professors out there. And I would answer very little. And I would answer, if you were wondering whether or not more violence was going to come, just look at the thought process of Matthew Dowd. And you have your answer. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. So we're just taking a look at some of the other insanities that have come out. Also, you've got the FBI now offering cash for information regarding the assassin. So I will have those stories for you. I think I was discussing Poland earlier, so I will get to that as well. Good. Appreciate you guys being here so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, Clay, you're an idiot. There's video of him saying school shootings are what we have to deal with in order to protect the Second Amendment. Let's do a couple things here, Clay. First, whatever you do, don't think that you know it all. Take a breath. The Second Amendment remains. And the murder of the assassination of Charlie Kirk is about the gunman, not about the gun. Lots of lawful gun owners out there who did nothing wrong. Sometimes bad people will do bad things. That is what happens in a free society. Sometimes bad people do bad things. The question is, why do they do the thing? The question is, why do they feel the right to do the thing? And what is the purpose of the thing that they have done? Are you supportive of trying to silence people for their political view? Yes or no, Clay? That's the question. Nobody wants children killed in a school. That goes without saying. But does that mean I now lose the right to protect my own children in my house? Go ahead, radio. Dealing with somebody in the chat room talking about Charlie Kirk. There's a video of him saying that school shootings is what we have to deal with in order to protect the Second Amendment. Tony Katz today. There's been a lot of this. Hey, listen, Charlie Kirk, he supported the Second Amendment. What else did you expect? What else did I expect? I expected him not to be murdered. The Second Amendment remains. I don't want school shootings. I want children to be protected from the monsters who want to tell them that they can be girls if they're boys and boys if they can be girls. And I want them protected from monsters outside. And I want them protected by people who are the good guys with guns. You keep thinking this is a Second Amendment story. It's not. Millions of lawful gun owners and nobody shot Charlie Kirk. This guy murdered Charlie Kirk and it had nothing to do with the gun. It's not the gun. It was Representative Ocasio-Cortez who tried to make this argument, and it's wrong, and we've had it. The guns stay. End of discussion. The guns stay. This is about people. You're after the gun as the excuse, as if somehow that's going to cure the issue that people have in engaging in violence. When the issue is, of course, the issue they have in engaging in violence. Thinking they can silence others because they disagree with them. It's not the Second Amendment. And to be clear, it remains. There's not a leftist who can end it. You're not going to grab every gun. You're not going to go door to door. Eric Swalwell can't do this. You're not tough enough. You're not strong enough. Americans won't put up with it. So we're done with this conversation. Done. Kitten boo-boo. The FBI is now offering $100,000 for information leading to the arrest of Charlie Kirk's assassin. Offering a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to the identification and arrest of the individual or individuals responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk on September 10th, 2025 at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. 1-800-CALL-FBI is the tip line. And the Carolina Panthers firing one of their social media guys for putting out on the socials that why y'all sad? Your man said it was worth it. And it was a slide on the social media post with a song by Wu-Tang called Protect Your Neck. Ha ha. That's who they are. People who have lost the arguments, people who have never had the argument, people who do not engage in a rational way. If you are still talking about the Second Amendment as the issue here, you're just wrong. The issue is the person who said, I can't allow Charlie Kirk to speak, and tomorrow it is you. Wait, tomorrow it might be me, but then the next day it's you. It eventually becomes you. In the world where they utilize violence to solve the problem and not civility to solve issues and engage debate and come to consensus, where someone wins and someone loses and we all move on together, eventually you lose, eventually you die. That's history. Anybody who doubts that simply has never read a book. That's all there is to it. Senator Jim Banks joins me next. Senator Jim Banks of Indiana. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. Guys, man, I appreciate you. I love you. I got to run. I got to run from the live stream. It is true. Yeah, I heard this about Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. Agreed to pay for Charlie's kids' expenses. I don't know for fact, but I think financially Charlie was set up. So I don't know, but it's certainly kind of him. And it does make you wonder, what exactly is the connection here? Tell me Charlie Kirk was so reviled that the wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings is like, I'll put your kids through college? Let me tell you, for a guy who's already been called a million times a white supremacist, Charlie Kirk was pretty terrible at it. If the black wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings is like, here you go. You see, according to Scott, it's just AI. It was just something that was invented and isn't real. I don't know. But I appreciate you guys. And the radio show continues at WIBC.com. And you head on over there, listen to the conversation with Senator Banks. I appreciate you guys more than anything. I love the people we're seeing on the live stream as it continues to grow and continues to build. But I got to run. I'm back tomorrow. We will have much more on this tomorrow, and reaction, and of course next steps. But yeah, I'm put me on record. No, I don't think we've seen the end of this. Yes, I do think there are going to be other attacks. Yes, I think it's awful. Yes, I think it's coming. If asked if I'm personally concerned, I honestly don't think that I am. I do not believe I have the reach to get that kind of attention. But we've got a pretty large reach locally where I live, and everything is possible. And that's the point. If people want to start taking these things, these attacks, and be like, well, this is the way to handle it, we've got to stop these people. Well, it doesn't matter if you're on one radio station or 100, and it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 followers or 10. You and I are in the same boat in that regard. Head on a swivel. Don't stop talking. Be yourself. Be safe. Follow me on the Twitter X at Tony Katz and on YouTube, Tony Katz. Be sure to subscribe right now, immediately, if not sooner. I'll catch you tomorrow, everyone. Take care.